So I recently saw an article saying that Triple G, a prime Triple G, would have beaten the Terence Crawford that just beat Canelo. Now, that's something I really want to talk about because I was thinking about it. At first, I'm thinking, nah, Crawford could probably do to Triple G what he did to Canelo and sort of box rings around him. But I'm thinking about prime Triple G. I don't think anyone's really boxing rings around him. You look at a prime Triple G compared to the Canelo that fought Crawford. I see Triple G who's got better footwork. Triple G is more dynamic in terms of ability to cut off the ring and the routes that he's got to cut off the ring. I see Triple G that's a better combination puncher. And I see Triple G who's got just as good of a chin as Canelo and isn't getting rocked either. And then you're starting to think, well, there's a lot of factors there. That's a lot of things, that's sort of advantages over Canelo, sorry, that he would have against Crawford. Of course, Crawford is Crawford. Right, but also another thing was Triple G's ability to make adjustments in the fight, which is something that Canelo previously has been able to do really well, but against Crawford really wasn't able to do that at all, make any adjustments. I would favour Triple G to make more adjustments during that fight, try more things, and of course Triple G is a far better jabber than Canelo ever was, right? And ultimately the jab is the foundation of boxing, and that is what sets up everything. It is. That's the foundation of boxing. If you've got a good jab, it can take you around the world. Crawford showed us a great jab. Triple G also had a great jab. Right? And Crawford, throughout that fight, was able to disrupt Canelo, make it awkward, purely just using that jab. Shooting the jab to the head, shooting the jab to the body, shooting that double jab. And Canelo really didn't have any answers for it. Canelo wasn't firing back with jabs of his own, but Triple G would. Right? Triple G would, and Triple G is bigger in terms of height than both guys. It would be a really interesting fight. I think Triple G's 5'10", and Crawford's 5'8", so he's got a couple inches on him. But honestly, those punches that Triple G was delivering to guys, he was so powerful and so destructive. But also to land those punches, to land those combinations, you do sort of have to pin down Crawford, right? And Canelo couldn't do that. Could Triple G pin down Crawford? I would fancy a prime Triple G to pin down Crawford more than the Canelo that fought Crawford was able to pin him down. Because the Canelo that fought Crawford wasn't really able to pin him down at all, which is why Crawford won pretty much every round in that fight. I gave Canelo 2 rounds. Right, whereas Triple G, I'd fancy Triple G to do a lot better in terms of understanding foot control, setting up that jab, applying pressure, feints. These were things that Canelo wasn't really doing in the fight and was looking sort of elementary against Crawford. But yeah, now that I've sort of got that out there and started to talk about it a bit more, I do sort of think, well, Triple G does have some path to victory here. Crawford, of course, would be the faster puncher, would be more dynamic, would have that southpaw advantage, would be able to move better. These would all be factors. Of course, and it's a boxing fight. Of course, all these things are going to be factors in the fight. And I don't know. I'm sort of starting to pick a prime Triple G to beat Terence Crawford. I'd be curious to know what you guys think, though. Do you think Terence Crawford would have the boxing IQ and have the, ability to outbox Triple G for that long and maintain that sort of punch output that would be necessary to keep Triple G off him? Crawford has done that his entire career. He showed that punch output against Canelo. Didn't get tired. Honestly, didn't even get out of second gear against Canelo. Right? But yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting article. Triple G has his advantages. Crawford, of course, has his strengths in terms of he has got some power. I don't think he'd be able to stop Triple G, but would be able to do some damage, potentially. Triple G is he's very traditional boxing in that sense, where his high guard covers up well. Defensive fundamentals are definitely there, but he's not a defensive master. His offense is his defense in a lot of ways, right? So Crawford's definitely got some advantages there and definitely got some paths to victory, but we'll be super curious to know what you guys think. Do you think Crawford could outbox Triple G? Or do you think Triple G, again, is going to be too big, too powerful, and in his own right have too high of a boxing IQ to not make those appropriate adjustments throughout the fight, where Canelo was unable to do that? But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.